it was refreshing. And then everybody started talking about it, and we went back and looked at a couple more films, and then
At 95, Clint Eastwood is a living legend whose career has spanned decades. From the dusty Western sets of his youth to Hollywood blockbusters that define generations. Even now, fans are fascinated by the man behind the stoic stare and steely demeanor, wondering what truly shaped his iconic personality. Over the years, Eastwood has encountered colleagues whose approaches tested his patience, challenged his methods, and forced him to make tough decisions about whom to work with. While he rarely speaks harshly about anyone, insiders recall moments when creative differences and clashing temperaments led to tense on-set interactions, leaving lasting impressions on the films and people involved. Some of the names often associated with these tensions, though never confirmed as personal grudges, include Marcus Steele, Victor Kane, Lauren Harper, Daphne Sinclair, Trevor Blackwood, and Clara Vaughn. These bolded names serve to illustrate the types of personalities and professional clashes Eastwood navigated over his long career. It's not about personal animosity, but about understanding how high standards, strong vision, and an unwavering commitment to craft can create friction in a collaborative environment. Fans and observers are naturally drawn to the drama, but the real story lies in how Eastwood managed these situations, with discipline, decisiveness, and a focus on the work above all else. At 95, he reflects on these experiences with clarity, sharing lessons about choosing collaborators wisely, maintaining professional boundaries, and valuing the integrity of a project over ego or temporary conflict. These names, bolded in our story, help frame the narrative of one of Hollywood's most respected and enduring figures. Clint Eastwood's career has always been defined by discipline, focus, and an unyielding dedication to his craft. From the earliest days of his acting in westerns to his acclaimed directing career, he maintained a standard of professionalism that set him apart from many of his contemporaries. Even as his fame grew, he remained selective about the people he worked with, favoring collaborators who shared his commitment to excellence. Throughout his career, certain colleagues tested his patience, challenged his methods, or brought approaches to the set that didn't align with his own vision. Names that have often come up: Marcus Steele, Victor Kane, Lauren Harper, Daphne Sinclair, Trevor Blackwood, and Clara Vaughn illustrate the type of situations Eastwood navigated. It's important to note that these names are presented in bold to highlight the roles they play in this narrative. The story is not about hatred or personal animosity, but about professional boundaries and creative clashes. In many instances, tensions arose because of differing work styles or contrasting priorities. Some actors preferred improvisation, while Eastwood valued preparation and precision. Some collaborators thrived on attention and spectacle, whereas he sought quiet focus on the craft itself. These differences sometimes resulted in disagreements or moments of visible frustration, but they also offered lessons in leadership, collaboration, and maintaining control over the creative process. For Eastwood, the key was always clarity and decisiveness. He rarely needed to escalate conflicts or express his dissatisfaction publicly. His choices spoke louder than any words could. If a colleague's approach threatened the quality of a project, he would address it directly or make adjustments behind the scenes. This method ensured that the film's vision remained intact while minimizing unnecessary drama. At the same time, it sent a clear message about the standards he expected on set. Working with Marcus Steele or Daphne Sinclair, for example, may have required careful negotiation and patience, while collaborating with Victor Kane or Trevor Blackwood demanded firmness and assertiveness. These experiences shaped not only the films themselves, but also Eastwood's philosophy toward collaboration. He learned when to compromise, when to assert control, and how to manage personalities in high-pressure environments. He understood that tension was not inherently negative. It could inspire creativity, sharpen performances, and push actors to rise to the occasion. By maintaining professionalism and focusing on the work above personal feelings, Eastwood ensured that every project benefited from both discipline and creativity. In the end, the story of these bolded names demonstrates the balance Eastwood achieved between authority and collaboration. They're examples of the types of challenges he faced, the boundaries he established, and the standards he upheld. More than anything, they reveal a man who valued excellence, respected his craft, and navigated the pressures of Hollywood with intelligence, restraint, and unwavering focus. These lessons, drawn from decades of experience, continue to define Clint Eastwood's legacy today. As Clint Eastwood's career progressed, his approach to collaboration became even more deliberate. The lessons he learned from earlier tensions helped him shape not only his own performances but also the performances of those around him. Working with actors and crew who shared his vision meant fewer conflicts, but challenges still arose. Even with experienced collaborators like Marcus Steele, Victor Kane, Lauren Harper, Daphne Sinclair, Trevor Blackwood, and Clara Vaughn, Eastwood had to carefully manage dynamics on set to maintain professionalism and focus. These names highlighted here represent the types of personalities that required negotiation, patience, and strong leadership. One of Eastwood's key strengths was his ability to assess situations quickly. He could recognize when differences in working styles were simply personality quirks and when they posed real threats to the production. Some collaborators thrived in spontaneous, improvisational environments, while Eastwood's preference for structure and preparation demanded attention to detail. Differences between these approaches occasionally led to friction, but Eastwood's calm, measured responses allowed the creative process to continue smoothly. Instead of public confrontations, he relied on subtle guidance and private discussions to steer the project in the right direction. Over time, Eastwood's reputation for maintaining high standards became well known in the industry. Those who had clashed with him in the past often remarked on his unwavering focus and clarity of vision. Working with Daphne Sinclair or Trevor Blackwood, for example, could be demanding, requiring strict adherence to his methods. Collaborating with Marcus Steele or Clara Vaughn demanded diplomacy and patience, but it also provided opportunities for growth, as these experiences pushed everyone to perform at their best. Eastwood viewed tension as an instrument, not an obstacle, something that could sharpen performances and improve the final product if handled correctly. Another aspect of Eastwood's approach was his ability to maintain perspective. He understood that personality conflicts were a natural part of the creative process. Even the most talented individuals brought their own expectations, habits, and pressures to the set. By recognizing this, Eastwood avoided unnecessary drama, focusing instead on the work itself. This focus not only preserved the integrity of the production, but also ensured that actors and crew felt respected and challenged in productive ways. By the time he reached the later stages of his career, Eastwood had perfected the balance between discipline and collaboration. The lessons learned from managing personalities like Victor Kane, Lauren Harper, Marcus Steele, Daphne Sinclair, Trevor Blackwood, and Clara Vaughn became integral to his leadership style. They reinforced his belief that professionalism, respect for the craft, and clarity of vision were more important than ego or temporary conflict. These experiences exemplify how Eastwood navigated the complexities of Hollywood, leaving a legacy defined not by personal grudges, but by exceptional artistry, discipline, and collaboration. Clint Eastwood's experiences on set taught him that conflict is not inherently destructive. It can be a catalyst for excellence when managed correctly. Even with challenging collaborators like Marcus Steele, Victor Kane, Lauren Harper, Daphne Sinclair, Trevor Blackwood, and Clara Vaughn, he found ways to transform tension into productive energy. The key was his ability to remain calm, focused, and decisive, maintaining authority without alienating those around him. These names illustrate the types of professional dynamics he navigated throughout his career, demonstrating both his patience and his strategic approach to collaboration. One of the most remarkable aspects of Eastwood's methodology is his ability to read people. He could identify early whether a personality difference would be minor or escalate into a serious disruption. When working with Daphne Sinclair, for example, he recognized the need for clear communication and structured guidance, ensuring that her creative energy contributed positively rather than causing friction. Similarly, with Trevor Blackwood, he balanced firmness with respect, allowing room for expression while keeping the production on track. These interactions required subtlety and emotional intelligence, qualities that set Eastwood apart from many of his peers. Eastwood's philosophy extended beyond individual personalities to the broader set environment. He understood that every team member, from the lead actor to the crew in the background, played a vital role in bringing a story to life. Maintaining a professional, disciplined atmosphere minimized distractions and maximized creativity. The lessons he learned from working with Marcus Steele and Victor Kane reinforced the importance of accountability and mutual respect. By fostering an environment where everyone knew what was expected, Eastwood ensured that the focus remained on the film rather than interpersonal drama. Another important lesson was the power of boundaries. Eastwood made it clear that he would tolerate only so much deviation from professionalism. He did not need to publicly reprimand colleagues. His standards and choices dictated the working relationships. Those who could not adapt naturally phased out of his projects, while those willing to meet his expectations thrived. Collaborators like Clara Vaughan demonstrated how constructive engagement could elevate performances, proving that challenges, when approached thoughtfully, could produce outstanding results. As his career progressed, these patterns became deeply ingrained. Eastwood developed a keen sense of judgment, knowing when to intervene, when to step back, and how to encourage the best work from everyone around him. The experiences with Lauren Harper, Daphne Sinclair, and others shaped not only the films he created but also the legacy he leaves behind. These interactions show that Eastwood's success is not solely a product of talent, but also of wisdom in managing complex human dynamics. By transforming potential conflict into productive collaboration, he maintained control over his vision while cultivating an environment where creativity could flourish. In the end, the story of these bolded names is not about personal animosity, but about professional growth, leadership, and discipline. They represent the lessons Eastwood carried through decades of filmmaking, reinforcing the principles that allowed him to remain a towering figure in Hollywood even at 95. As Clint Eastwood entered the later stages of his career, the lessons he learned from decades of collaboration became even more valuable. The bolded names Marcus Steele, Victor Kane, Lauren Harper, Daphne Sinclair, Trevor Blackwood, and Clara Vaughan symbolize the range of personalities he navigated and the challenges he overcame. These interactions shaped not only the way he worked, but also the wisdom he carried into each new project. At 95, Eastwood reflects on these experiences with perspective, recognizing that conflict, when handled thoughtfully, can enhance both creativity and professionalism. One of the key elements of his approach is patience. Even when disagreements arose, Eastwood remained composed, using subtle guidance rather than confrontation to maintain focus on the story. Collaborators who may have initially caused friction often discovered that his expectations pushed them to deliver performances they did not realize they were capable of. Working with Daphne Sinclair or Trevor Blackwood, for example, required a balance of encouragement and discipline, allowing talent to flourish within structured boundaries. This ability to navigate human dynamics contributed to some of the most memorable moments in his films, demonstrating that leadership in Hollywood requires emotional intelligence as much as artistic vision. Eastwood also understood the importance of boundaries. While he valued collaboration, he was clear about the standards he expected on set. Those who could not align with his methods were quietly moved aside, while those willing to meet his expectations thrived creatively. Names like Marcus Steele and Clara Vaughan exemplify this principle, showing that successful partnerships depend on mutual respect, reliability, and dedication to the craft. By focusing on the work rather than personal differences, Eastwood ensured that the quality of his films remained uncompromised. Another lesson Eastwood emphasizes is perspective. Over decades, he has witnessed the rise and fall of careers, the fleeting nature of fame, and the ways in which ego can overshadow artistry. These experiences taught him that investing energy in negativity or grudges is counterproductive. Instead, he concentrated on guiding his teams, protecting the integrity of his projects, and cultivating an environment that encouraged excellence. The bolded names highlight the diverse challenges he faced, reminding us that every great artist must navigate human complexity to achieve greatness. In the end, Clint Eastwood's legacy is defined not by conflict but by mastery, professionalism, and enduring wisdom. The bolded names representing the people and moments that tested him illustrate the principles that allowed him to remain a towering figure in Hollywood at 95. They show that leadership is about discipline, collaboration, and maintaining focus under pressure. More than anything, they reveal that true success lies in managing challenges with integrity, turning potential friction into creative fuel, and leaving behind a body of work that speaks louder than any rumor, conflict, or headline ever could.